Assalamualaikum. My name is FARAH HAFIZI binti Muhammad REZA HAFIZ and my partner is SYAMIMI binti Muhammad KHAIRUL NIZAM. We are a final year student in Bachelor Science of Tourism Management, and the title of our final year project is Satisfaction Characteristic of Visitors Towards National Museum Kuala Lumpur and Their Visit Intention. We are supervised by our lecturer, Puan Nur Azza Mustafa. Before we go further, I will let you know what you can expect to hear during this recording. Our FYP consists of introduction, literature review, methodology, findings, discussions, and also conclusion. Without further ado, we will start with abstract. Museums are not just being seen as an important tool for community development and also helping in promoting cultural conservation. This paper will investigate the current conditions of visitors' perceptions regarding service quality, facilities, and also information at the Museum Negara in studying the visit intention of visitors towards Museum Negara. The data will consist 250 respondents and it will be distributed by Google Form. However, our finding factor will be service quality, facilities, and information as we said above. As for the introduction, we all know that heritage tourism has emerged as a burgeoning sector offering tourists novel and diverse experience. However, challenge will persist in ensuring quality, facilities, and also the information provision within this realm. Visitor satisfaction hinges on the holistic museum experience from parking to the departure, highlighting the importance of service quality and also the customer's perspective. As Adversant 1996 states that service should be evaluated from the customer's viewpoint, recognize their diverse value and also assessment their criteria. As for the background of the study, we have three evidence on why we choose Museum Negara or museum itself as our study. So, as for Zhang Yuteng, he said that the tourists who visit the museum are customers of the museum itself, and they point out that a museum should learn to create customer satisfaction with the profitable businesses, whether it will earn profits or not. And also, it says by Chen and Chen 2010, tourists, especially heritage tourists' behavioral intention has an indirect impact on experience quality, and the researchers also found quality and emotion directly impacts on satisfaction. So we believe that service quality, facilities, and also information will contribute to the revisit intention of the visitors toward the museum. And we believe that every study have their own problem statement on why we want to study Museum Negara. So there are three problem statements that we have quoted here, which is the first one is first, auditing service quality can help museum meet the needs of the specific and diversified market. So we want to ensure that museums know the service quality that they preserve to the customer so they can see which are the specific and diversified market they need to focus on. And then the second problem is it is quoted by Kathleen Legutko and Klingler 2012. They said that museum facilities need require constant maintenance and identifying issues by performing an overall inspection, documenting issues allowed to get the maintenance program to do their work. And the third problem, it is mentioned in a Malaysia Now story newspaper. A visitor that comes to Museum Negara stated that the museum is presently the same as it has been for the last 8 years. So, by this, we need to ensure that the management of the museums know the problem and we want to study either this problem really happened or not. Now we move to the research objective and also research questions. So, the research objective is first to identify the relationship between visitors' satisfaction level and revisit intention to Museum Negara. And also, we want to determine the most influential factors in visitor satisfaction that contribute to revisit intention. However, for the research question is the first one, we're going to ask about how does the satisfaction level of visitors to Museum Negara correlate with their intention to revisit the museum, and what aspect of Museum Negara experience have the greatest impact on visitor satisfaction, and how do these factors influence their decisions to revisit their museum. And this is our research framework, which we can see that independent variable is from the left side and the dependent variable is from the right side. So the left side is service quality, facilities, information, and the dependent variable is revisit intention. And for the significance of the study, this study will contribute to the exploring the satisfaction characteristic of visitors to revisit the Museum Negara itself and how this would influence their decision to revisit the museum again. This research was conducted in an attempt to contribute to the hospitality's existing competencies, and also it will result of the study may contribute to the awareness of museum management on what they should focus on to attract more visitors to revisit the museum rather than visiting it once in a lifetime.
I am SYAMIMI binti Muhammad Khairul and I am going to talk about the literature review. So, the first variable is service quality. Any activity or benefit that one party can offer to another that is essentially intangible and does not result in the ownership of anything is what is meant by the definition of service. Meanwhile, quality is now seen to be a strategic instrument for improving corporate performance and operational efficiency. Then, the idea of service quality is not a stand-alone phrase. Rather, it is shaped by a number of variables related to services and service providers. These elements include reliability, assurance, responsiveness, tangibility, and empathy. Next, when an organization has achieved its desired service quality level, it must then seek to achieve customer satisfaction. This customer satisfaction, however, is adopted by customer expectations. Perceived quality output are then judged by customer satisfaction. The second variable is facilities. Facility management is the operational environment needed to support and enhance an organization's core business processes and activities. Next, examining the conditions of these museum's facilities therefore becomes paramount if they must be kept in good shape to serve future generations. Comfortability of the tourists during visits is very essential and always a priority because the tourist counts on the quality of service experience, and this goes a long way in attracting visitors to the destinations. The third variable is information. That is, a collected objects support entertainment, learning, and research. Objects are collected and preserved with the purpose to represent, to reconstruct, or to demonstrate a physical or conceptual phenomenon. Then, museum visitors will return to the same museum if they benefit more. These returners to the same museums could have felt that they have gained much new knowledge from their previous visits. As for the revisit intention, it refers to a person's interest or intention to travel there again in the future to experience the destinations, products, or brand. It is influenced by the overall satisfaction level and the number of previous visits. And satisfaction and dissatisfaction both result from the comparison between product performance perception and the level of expectation. Moving on to the methodology, we use descriptive study and using a questionnaire method. We utilizes an online survey via Google Forms and distributed it through social media and UiTM emails. As for the population and sample, this study focuses on the target group that consists of students, local tourists, and the people who have visited the National Museum. And we needed 30 respondents for this study as a sample. Our research instrument is a questionnaire that consists of 4 parts, which is Section A, screening questions, followed by Section B, demographic questions, and Section C and D that consists of close-ended questions with rating scale. Our data collection relies on the primary data from respondents and secondary data from prior studies and web resources. Data analysis that being used are demographic frequency, descriptive analysis, Cronbach alpha and normality test, skewness and kurtosis, and lastly R-square analysis.
So we're back again to the 4.0, which is I will talk about findings. So this chapter elaborates the result of the study on the response of respondents to the variable use, which are the service quality, facilities, information, and also the revisit intention. To summarize, the goal of this study is to see if there was a correlation between the service quality, facilities, and information that drove the intention of visitors' revisitation. So for the very first one in our questionnaire, we asked respondents about their demographic. So a total of 250 valid respondents have been answered our questionnaire, which is 31.6% is from male respondents and the others from female. There are 92.4% majority from range age 18 until 24, and their frequencies of respondents mostly from degree holders and also diploma holders, and it is 168 from degree and 58 persons from diploma holder. As for the marital status, married couple also show interest in visiting Museum Negara, where they are about 10.4% of them and the rest were single. As for the mean scores and standard deviation, for the first independent variable, which is service quality, the highest mean of service quality is from the data where respondents agree that the staff is helpful, which is the mean 4.16 and the standard deviation is 0.828. And for the less of respondents agree the staff is friendly and approachable, which resulted of mean is 3.91 and standard deviation is 0.925. And for the second independent variable, which is facilities, respondents mostly agree that buildings were well maintained and also perceived clean, which is the mean of 4.10 and standard deviation is 0.829. And the lowest mean would be the museum did not provide seating area and rest area enough for visitors. That resulted to 3.92 for mean and 0.902 for standard deviation. Then we will talk about the third independent variable, which is information. So the highest mean of information is from the data where respondents agree that the content served at Museum Negara is beneficial, which is resulted for mean 4.35 and standard deviation is 0.814. And there are less of respondents disagree that the information were perceived in various formats, which is text, video, or image, which resulted of mean of 3.91 and standard deviation of 0.925. And last but not least, our revisit intention, which is our dependent variable. So, most of the respondents vote that they will revisit Museum Negara again in the next 2 years. So, the mean will be 3.85 and the standard deviation is 0.956. And there's a quite number of them believe that they will go and they have an intention to go to the Museum Negara again in the next 6 months. It's not a decision they will make in the next future. However, me and SYAMIMI do not forget to do a Cronbach Alpha and normality test, which is called as a pilot test for 30 visitors or 30 respondents. It is because we want to check either our question is related to the things that we want to study in this study. So the internal consistency, also known as dependability, is a group of survey items is measured by the Cronbach alpha coefficient. And on a standardized 0 to 1 scale, Cronbach alpha measures the degree of agreement. Greater values represent greater agreement between the items. So in our study, the independent variable that has the highest coefficient value is service quality with a value of 0.903 and followed by the facilities, which is 0.853, and the information would be 0.831. And for the dependent variable, which is revisit intention, also the reliability coefficient is 0.829. And this shows that all variables that we study are accepted as the Cronbach alpha value because it is more than 0.6. In this study, we also study about the skewness and also the courtesies, which is in the service quality, the first independent variable. 4 out of 5 questions have left skew that shows respondents mostly choose Likert scale from 4 to 5. And many respondents also agree that facilities in Museum Negara is well maintained and also clean. and they also provided enough seating area, as Q-News shows that all of them were left skew. There are fair votes by respondents in agreeing that the museum has clear and informative information, and there's also a respondent who also agreed to visit Museum Negara in the next 2 years. So we will also not forget to do the R-square analysis, which is regression, to study the correlation between all the independent variable with the revisit intention dependent variable. So the first one, for service quality, there was positive correlation between the service quality and also the revisit intention, which is the regression shows that 0.576. So hypothesis 1, the satisfaction of visitors influence the visitors' revisit intention. And hypothesis 1A, which is service quality positively influence revisit intention. So you can see here the relationship between service quality and the revisit intention is moderately significant correlated, which is R is 0.5676 and p-value is under 0.01, which is the hypothesis 1A is acceptable. And then we go to the second variable, which is there was a positive correlation between the facilities and also the revisit intention. So hypothesis 1, which is the satisfaction of visitors influence the visitors' revisit intention, and the hypothesis 1b, facilities positively influence revisit intention. So is there that we can accept this hypothesis 1b? So it's actually there was a positive correlation between the facilities and also the revisit intention, because the regression of facilities is 0.597 and it is moderately significant because p-value is under 0.01, and therefore we can conclude that H1b is acceptable. And last but not least, for our third variable, which is there was a positive correlation between the information and also the revisit intention, which is for hypothesis first, same as before, and hypothesis 1c, which is information positively influence revisit intention. So in here, we can see there is positive correlation between regression in information, which is 0.529, and p-value is under 0.01, which is same as before. We can accept this hypothesis 1c.
Now, the discussion of the study. The majority of respondents were between the age of 18 to 30, which corresponds to the idea that this group of age is the ones who often visited the National Museum. The demographic profile may influence the findings result, particularly concerning the level of satisfaction and their revisit intention. The impression a visitor has of a particular tourism destination is known as the destination image. The image of the place will be impacted by the quality of the tourist destinations and services provided. Tourists will travel there if the destination has a positive image. In this study, it was discovered that the destination image in terms of service quality, facilities and information has a substantial impact on visitor satisfaction but not on the likelihood of a return visit. If the impression of the museum is consistent with what the visitors' pre-visit perceptions of the museum were, they will be satisfied. Service quality encompasses various elements including staff friendliness, knowledgeability and professionalism. At Museum Negara, the demeanor of staff members, their ability to assist visitors and the overall level of hospitality contribute significantly to visitors' satisfaction. A positive interaction with the staff can enhance the overall museum experience and leave a lasting impression on visitors, influencing their likelihood of returning. Facilities play a crucial role in ensuring visitor comfort and accessibility. Museum Negara's facility, such as parking, sitting and rest areas, and also restroom facilities, contribute to the overall convenience and enjoyment of the visit. Well-maintained facilities that meet visitors' needs can enhance their overall satisfaction and encourage them to revisit the museum in the future. Information provision is essential for enriching visitors' understanding and appreciation of the museum's exhibits and artworks. Clear and informative signage, as well as the availability of information in various formats, such as text, audio, and video, contribute to a more engaging and educational experience at Museum Negara. Visitors who feel adequately informed and inspired by the museum's exhibits are more likely to consider revisiting to delve deeper into the cultural and historical narratives presented.
So now we know we're down to the conclusion. So we talked before about the methodology, the literature review, and also how we find and the interpretation of our findings. So now the conclusion is, by recognizing the importance of these factors and addressing areas for improvement, we believe that Museum Negara can effectively enhance the visitor experience, foster long-term engagement with cultural heritage, and also encourage repeat visitation. With this study, we want to continue striving to meet and exceed visitor expectation, and we hope that Museum Negara can position itself as a premier destination for cultural exploration and also education for all range of people. Contributing to the broader cultural heritage tourism landscape is also good for Malaysia. And we hope that our study can actually help Museum Negara to improve their own management itself and be one of the highest museum influential in Malaysia.